Hello everyone, and welcome to the Trending in My Life podcast, episode 21. This week, 'tis the season for coughs, colds, flu, COVID. How are we going to cope with that? Unfortunately, the swinging temperatures have had people not dressing weather appropriate this season. One sunny day and the next morning they reach for a lightweight jacket and then are shivering at the bus stop. The trains have cranked up their heating, so you experience the extremes of being cold outside, too warm on public transport, and then out in the cold again. Dry heat of the office heating can have people coughing from a dry throat or with a headache needing fresh air after just a couple of hours. Wherever you are, you'll hear people coughing or sneezing. Sometimes you find that person is sat right next to you and there are no spare seats for you to move to. I have to say, I still carry a mask in my coat pocket just for such an occasion. I also always carry a plastic glove with me for holding bus and train poles, which of course have a zillion germs from all those people touching them after rubbing their noses or coughing into their hand. Similarly, I use a glove for touching the self-checkout screen in the supermarkets. It's little precautions, but every little helps. So what do? Well, I try and take vitamins and be much more conscious of what I eat. A mandarin orange makes a nice dessert, but also gives me some vitamin C. Eating additional vegetables, upping my protein, making a packed lunch that's got as many healthy elements as I can add, trying to get a good amount of sleep. It seems almost impossible, though, to avoid the germs. People are already Christmas shopping with long lines and crowded stores. I went out yesterday to buy some jeans because I know the temperatures are dropping next week, and two women in front of me in the line were discussing having been stood outside the door of the store waiting for it to open to avoid the crowds. I was just regular shopping, not gift shopping, but it seems everywhere you go, Christmas is there. No matter what kind of store, it's got Christmas displays, and I don't watch TV, but apparently the Christmas ads or commercials are all out too. The flyers from every supermarket are pushed through my front door mailbox with glossy pictures of their Christmas food. There's a lot of pressure when you're feeling a bit under the weather with the sniffles or a sore throat. A duvet day feels in order, and more sleep to help your body fight off being ill is always a good idea. Although, if your nose is stuffy, you'll need to sleep in a sitting up position to help with breathing. Then, because you're not used to that position, it takes a long time to fall asleep, and you'll wake up on and off during the night because you've slipped down to lying flat and can't breathe very well. I like to sleep with the window slightly open, but always remember to make sure I'm wearing snuggly PJs and have sufficient covers so I don't get cold in the night, or that will wake me up too. I was recovering from a cold last weekend, so I have recently experienced some of this. Generally, I try and soldier on, as they say, and keep as much as possible to my normal routine. I'm not a person who can easily nap in the daytime. I always like to get out and walk in the fresh air, at least a couple of times a day. However, this recent cold I had was different, and my body refused to let me, and just a few metres from my front door had me turning back because I was just too tired. I did take a COVID test, so no, it wasn't that. Just one of those zillion variations of a cold virus, and weirdly, the day after that, I seemed to have a distinct change and started to feel better, and I knew the worst had passed. We are all very individual, though, in how we deal with being poorly, and for some, staying under the duvet, sleeping a lot, and only surfacing for food and drink works best for their body. Generally, we will want to eat comfort food, and for me, after a couple of days with no appetite at all, I was having soup. There are so many variations to choose from that you'll usually find something to appeal to you, and it's so fast to do. Open the can and a couple of minutes in the microwave and Bob's your uncle. I wonder where that expression comes from. I don't know. If you're lucky, you'll be living with a partner or have a roommate that will bring you soup so you don't even have to get out of bed. People with kind hearts. The problem at this time of year is that there's all this pressure to be ready for Christmas. As I talk to you now, there's 5.5 weeks to go, and people are in crazy panic buying mode already, which is why the stores are so busy and the lines are so long. Yes, you can do your gift buying online, but there's still plenty of people who prefer to do at least some of their shopping in person. I think that whole thing big department stores do with sections devoted to gifts for him and gifts for her is often an area people with no idea what to buy anyone end up, and then they feel choosing something there is bound to be a good choice. You may be travelling home to stay with family and have the added pressure of choosing gifts that are small enough to pack in your suitcase with your clothes, possibly unique ones that reflect the city you're studying or working in. On the streets, in the stores, there are still all those people coughing and sneezing, and you feel surrounded in a germ fog you can't escape. I guess we're lucky that any virus we do catch and recover from helps our immune system become strengthened against catching it again. It's the pressures that we experience at this time of year that stress us out constantly, which make us more vulnerable to catching things. Just at the time we need to be extra resilient. The financial stress of finding the money to buy gifts is also a problem. Some years it's just impossible to match last year's gifts, and you have to be firm with yourself and realistic in what you can and cannot do. Millions of people end up heavily in credit card debt in January because they just had to buy things they deemed perfect for the recipient, without considering the financial consequences for themselves in the months to come. Consider that despite the oohs and ahs and thank yous you'll receive for those gifts, odds are that person is receiving other gifts too from other people, and yours may be the best on that day, but not the only one. And I'm sure the not-so-spectacular gifts are still used and enjoyed by the person receiving them in months afterwards. It's like warm socks. They can seem like the most boring gift. And yet, in January or February, when day after day those same socks are keeping toes warm when walking outside, take on a whole new level of appreciation. A bit like a woolly hat and scarf or gloves. Even if you find the receiver got several sets, it's something that can be accidentally lost, then they're always grateful to have more in the closet to rely on. It's like I love having a collection of scarves that I can wear at different times of year. I didn't set out to have a collection. These were gifts over the years. In a lot of countries that get snow, you always need waterproof snowball making gloves, as well as the warm knitted ones for daily wear. Talking of woolly knitted items leads me on to homemade gifts. The scarves knitted or crocheted with loving care that you might not appreciate as a super gift until, on a freezing cold day, with it wrapped around and around your neck, you look down and realise how many hours and how much effort went into it. Homemade gifts are sometimes a financial necessity, but never feel they come in a shabby second place to a store-bought gift. Just know that maybe not on the day you give the gift, but in the future the receiver will appreciate the effort. Keyrings or keychains where you make by hand something to hang from the ring or chain can be in any manner of shape and from any kind of material. A star can represent the person receiving it will always be an absolute star to you, or a number 1 shape, as they are always the number 1 person in your life. Sometimes, when you're tucked up in bed trying to get well again from a virus that's laid you low, you can mentally make your gift list and figure out what you could make for each person if you weren't able to get out to visit the stores. I think we're lucky to have some budget-friendly stores in most towns and cities. They will stock a selection of gifts. They also often have homemade decoration kits, so you could buy and paint or decorate with what comes in the kit, then give the decoration as a gift. Collect a fallen twig with 2 or 3 branches off it and decorate it with foil candy wrappers. These look great and give it as a colourful table decoration if you're invited somewhere and need to bring a gift. Sometimes it's just not practical to pay out for a bottle of wine, and a handmade item like this can be really appreciated. Talking of which, seasonal get-togethers, parties, lunches or dinners with colleagues, friends and family before the going home for Christmas can be a melting pot of coughs and colds. You're crammed in, seated up against each other in a small room or in a packed club, and you just know that you're going to come down with something. But you can't live your life in a sterile bubble, and you don't want to miss out on the fun. In fact, that's the precise reason why those people who knew they have the sniffles push themselves to attend. That fear of missing out. All we can do is up our vitamin C and try not to live on sugary foods, but eat some healthy stuff each day too. Get some walking in the fresh air in when we can, and have a few early nights or weekend lie-ins. A lot of people will take a second job at this time of year to earn more money to pay for all those gifts they give. Here, the post office take a seasonal staff in their sorting offices and to walk routes, pushing mail through letterboxes in front doors. It solves their lack of money problem, but unfortunately can run down your immune system working two jobs, because you often end up working 7 days a week. Again, there's only so much you can do in that situation, and consciously eating good food is probably the number one you can do to boost your everyday immune system. There are so many goodies and treats around to tempt you, and that's okay, just as long as you don't end up living on alcohol and chocolates. The weather is often grey at this time of year, with what I think of as a blank sky. No visible clouds, just a blanket of greyness all day long. Often difficult for people's mood to remain good. It's cold, it's dreary, and you're feeling all gloomy along with it, with stress predominant in your life with the pressures of the season. Try to find light-hearted moments, things to make you smile and laugh. The pile of tissues at the side of your bed reminds you of a mini ski slope. Imagine skiing down that mountain of tissues and doing a spectacular jump, landing perfectly to a round of applause at the end. That's your free of your illness at the end and grabbing life back again image. Watch the bubbles in your energy drink floating upwards and imagine swimming to the surface of a turquoise sea and walking out of the water up into the white sandy beach. The water droplets all falling off you like the germs you've been fighting fall away and leave healthy you to carry on your life. This type of positive imagery helps you to recover. If you've got a future event to attend, imagine getting ready, being fabulous, outshining everyone with your cheery personality when you arrive. I hope you're not poorly this season, but odds are you will be at some point, because unless you shut yourself away and never go out, which I don't recommend you do, you're likely to come in contact with someone with a cold. Don't think, why me, why now? Because the truth is, you're not alone in this situation, and I'm sure if you think about it, you'd realise that too. Sleep as much as you're able to help your system recover and fight off the illness. Catch up on some reading you never have time for. Binge watch some series you like. Even try watching some travel documentaries or vlogs about places you might one day like to visit. Your brain will probably feel fuzzy and you'll only be able to do some of these things for a short while, but it'll pass the time. If you have someone being kind and making you meals or fetching medication for you, remember to be thankful, and when you're all better, treat them to a coffee or give them a thank you card to show you don't take them for granted. The other thing about getting sick at this time of year is it seems to take a long time to be back to 100% healthy. We get over the main illness, but our energy is still not up to its usual levels, and by the end of the working day, you're definitely ready to go home and sleep. Don't forget to eat though, as that's fuel for your body that's needed. Some people can take a month or 6 weeks to be back to properly better, and it's a long haul, during which, of course, they've had to return to work and are once again travelling and working amongst others who are just starting symptoms. It's like going round and round in circles, and you hope you've got some immunity to the next lot of germs going around. Fingers crossed. Don't let the pressures of the festive season stress you out. The most important gift you can give family or friends is to be there and give them a hug. No material gifts can be better than that. If you've been too poorly to make a gift and too broke to buy any, just write them a gift certificate for helping out with something in January, like promising to reorganise the kitchen cupboards or shovel the snow off the driveway for a week. Sometimes, for people who have everything, or seem to have, offering something like that can be really precious to them. A special, thoughtful gift. You're giving your time and energy to offer something they need. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast and that if you get sick at this time of year, or any time of year, you recover quickly. Don't let gift-giving stress get to you. Your best is good enough, whatever you can manage. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.